My heart's been ripped wide open. So many mixed emotions. It's like I finally noticed I've been set free. I've been set free. I spent a lifetime running, fearing what I'd become if I stop playing goalie on all of my thoughts, yeah. Speaking out straight from my heart, but now I see.
Welcome to the channel, welcome to the video. I am Dr. Darren Thomas, and we need to back things up a little. I need to talk about how this race came to fruition, and it started a long time ago, okay? So if we go back 11 years ago, okay, when I started medical school. When I started medical school, that was my great Bambino moment, right? That was when I pointed to the fence and I swung for it, right? And we got into medical school and it was everything we ever wanted, okay? But just like in that movie Sandlot, there is a beast sometimes that's unexpected when you hit a home run. During that medical school, it just became so overwhelming and heavy and sometimes dark. And there was a time in my medical school career that my wife noticed that I was just in this dark place, because medical school and a lot of different professions, when you get into the thick of the training, it is 100% laser focused, right? Because you've got a goal to accomplish, and oftentimes a lot of things have to suffer because of it, and I hated that. And one of the things that was suffering in my life was my concern and my efforts to help other people. I wasn't worried about other people because honestly, I didn't feel like I had the time or the capability to sacrifice for other people. And my wife reminded me that that is actually the most important time to think of others. So we started creatively thinking how we could help other people in our situation. We ended up starting a foundation through the help of a lot of people and with the advice of a lot of great friends. We started the FAST Foundation. FAST is P-H-A-S-T. It's an acronym. It stands for Promoting Health and Service Together. We thought it would be an amazing principle if we helped people see that even during the busiest times in their life, when they didn't think they had a split second to share and think of another person, was the exact moment they needed to think of another person. And the whole principle was organize a healthy event and mix service with it. Use that event as a magnet to bring athletes together and make them your volunteers, your force for good, right? So we did that we're now in our 11th year, okay? After medical school, I moved out to Quincy, Illinois, and instantly I was impressed with the kindness and the concern that this community had for everybody else. So during my 3 years of medical training, I was constantly looking for things and ways that I could get involved in the community that would benefit the community and that the community would want to support. Then I came across the video by Beau, and he talked about a mile per hour. His challenge where he would run 1 mile every hour, and at the end of that mile, he would be as productive as he could. He would do his honey-do list, all these things that have been neglected throughout his property, and I love the creativity behind it. I love the productivity behind it. I love just the fact that he ran a marathon. And instantly I was hooked. I've always wanted to run a marathon, but I hate running. But this allowed me to do it in a manageable clip. And I thought the parallels with life in Beau Miles' video were amazing, right? We don't often gain success by these huge single events. It is methodical, persistent, consistent efforts, right? So 1 mile at a time for 24 hours. You don't eat the elephant all at once. You nibble away at it, right? So I knew that I wanted to do that. But with my FAST Foundation thinking cap on, instead of doing the honey-do list, I wanted to see if I could do community service projects. And I thought that I could hold this marathon throughout my community, and at the end of every hour, do service projects instead. And I thought, what an amazing event that would be. And when I had that idea, man, I just got so excited. I thought that the potential and the possibility, just the mass amount of good that could be done in an event like this was just worth pursuing. I was so excited. So we moved forward with it. And we ended up calling it the 1 mile per hour marathon. The alliteration was good. It had the PH in there, an MPH for the fast. I felt like it explained it was good. So we went forward with it. We started planning. And I cannot tell you how complicated and difficult it was to organize this race route. It was crazy hard, right? Because I would plan, I would get on the phone and we'd call this location. Sure, we'd love to have your help, right? So we'd have mile 1 down, mile 2 down. But then within 1 mile of that location, I couldn't find anywhere that we could do any meaningful active service. But I had one that was 4 miles away. So then those 2 miles had to be switched around. The time shift had been shifted, had to contact those people. We had to shift it over, flip the map, reverse it, upside down. Very difficult, but we eventually figured it out. Honestly, I was finishing up the course map up to the day before. All right, so the first thing that we did, we actually started off with the service project, which I thought was an amazing thing. We were able to start off serving our community. So we started off at Mill Creek Farm. Amazing people that they allowed us to gather up as many pie pumpkins as we could to then be donated to families and community for a different service project at a different mile. And so we spent that first hour gathering pumpkins and just enjoying the fall atmosphere of this beautiful farm. We loaded up the truck, okay? Then we started off mile 1. I had my friend Brian Fair and my 2 daughters in tow. We ran the first mile. It was awesome, and little did we know how much farther we had to go. We ended up going to a beautiful barn, and he loaned us out the middle of his barn. And the first service project was for Soul Hope, where we took old jeans and cut out patterns in these jeans that would eventually be stitched together and used with tire tread to then be made into shoes for these children in Africa to help prevent diseases that are caused by specific insects that are in the ground. Packed everything up, loaded it back in the truck, and on the top of the hour, boom, our soles were hitting the pavement. Okay, next mile was to my old neighborhood, to a neighbor who cuts and sells wood. So we load up a bunch of wood that we would later give to someone who uses as a heating source through the winter. So that next hour, mile 2, was just loading wood. And at this point, it was dark. So we got to wear our headlamps, which my kids at that point, they weren't tired yet. We'd only run 2 miles yet now. And so they were still enjoying things, and they got to wear the little flashing red light, and they got to wear the headlamps. So things were really fun. People were talkative, and it was just a really energetic and really good atmosphere. Mile 3, we ended up getting wood toys. We ended up putting them together and putting the wheels and the axles, and we ended up painting them. These toys would then be delivered to the pediatric floor at Blessing Hospital, which I received my training. We ended up running. It was me, my good buddy Brian, his daughter, and my 2 daughters. We ran to a parking lot of a building that was closed down. We pulled up. My service truck and trailer drivers were there. Everything was open. We pulled up. We pulled the table and the bench out, and we started to cut fabric for what is called the Linus Project. Now, I came across the Linus Project when I was training as a resident in my 2nd year. For an entire month, I was required to go to Springfield, the capital, Illinois, and work as a resident physician there in the neonatal ICU. So these are the kids that are born premature with complications or to such a degree that they need life support to survive. All the way down to as early in the early 20 weeks. These children, I mean, we're talking about kids that were sitting in the palm, smaller than the palm of my hand. And they were on ventilators and being supported and being kept warm in these incubators. But each one of these kids, they had a beautiful, just simple blanket. And they are being provided by the Linus Project, where volunteers can purchase their own material and make these simple blankets to offer some just some comfort and some love to these children. At this point, my friend and his daughter, they peeled off. They were going to rejoin us in the morning. And so it was just me and my daughter. So my service truck and trailer drivers, they drove 1 mile forward, got a predetermined location. This particular one, what we did the first time, we ended up doing a Periscope session. We wanted to offer just uplifting message. We wanted to provide a just kind of the story. I wanted to show my daughter that there's people out there in the world that care and that think that what we are doing is important. And so for that hour, the service project was a Periscope session.
So we are doing this, okay? It is the world's HEART-est race. Okay, so we are on the 1 mile per hour marathon, okay? 1 mile per hour. So we literally do that. So at the top of every hour, we run 1 mile and then to a specific location, and
the rest of the hour we serve people.
What better thing to do in the middle of the night on a Friday in the middle of America?
And we wanted to tell you that you guys are awesome and you guys can achieve anything that you put your mind to.
Preach on. So she's 11 years old. She's doing this for us. Anyways, they said, you're amazing. I think they meant to say he's amazing, but they typoed it. See, it's he's, but they put an S in front of it accidentally, I think. And we will have completed 24 service projects. I'm so jacked because 24 different locations in town are going to have I don't know, just going to be better. I'm so excited. Look at that. Look at. You got this, Marley. Look at all the claps. Yeah.
That's the most claps in the world on social media.
Now, I tell you what, she's probably a better runner.
Top of the hour, we ran another mile. This mile was pretty hilly, I remember. Up and down and up. I remember the last quarter mile was all downhill, so that was nice. Mile 6, we wrote letters to people that we cared about. So during this time, my daughter and I wrote letters to people that had done something for us, that meant something to us. And so we were able to write letters to people that have influenced our lives. What I did is I actually ended up taking pictures of those, and I texted those to those people. Yeah, it was late at night, but eventually they'd get them. And so that was a neat thing to do. The first letter my daughter wrote was to our service truck and trailer drivers, and just thanking them for what they did. She's a tender heart. Top of the hour, gone. All right, mile 7 was a critical mile. At this point, it was now midnight. This was a tough mile for my daughter. First off, she's only 11 years old. She set the goal to run the whole thing. I'm a big believer, like I said earlier, for swinging for the fence. I believe that even if you fail, there's amazing life lessons and things that you can gather and be strengthened by. So I wanted to support her. I was torn because a 24-hour race is a big deal. She had just finished cross country. And so if there was ever going to be a time in her life that she could do something like this, is when she is in the best running shape of her life. And so I wanted to support this. But I had my doubts, right? I had my doubts for me doing it. But I wanted to support her. But mile 7 was hard. It was midnight and she was tired. She had now run her 7th mile. For anybody, that's a big thing. She had kept positive and she was loving it, and she kept telling me she was feeling good, so we kept going. But mile 7 was a hard mile for her, and I think it's a mile she's going to remember for the rest of her life. Anyways, as we were running mile 7, she started to break down into tears. Who hasn't been there when life just gets so hard? You're trying and you just get feared and things start snowballing, and you just are worried that you can't complete it. Anyways, and she starts crying, and she looks at me as we're running, and she's like, "Dad, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Why are you apologizing?" And I couldn't figure out why she was crying and then apologizing to me. But she says, "Dad, I can't do anymore." And so we stopped and we talked, and we tried to figure out, was this a real moment of her needing to stop, or is this just she was tired and we needed to get past it? And we talked, and she needed sleep and she needed to stop. And she made the decision to stop. And I am so proud of her for doing what she had already done. I was proud of her because she set the goal. She swung to do an entire marathon and run for 24 hours. Like most adults, when I told them about this race, most adults, when I told them about this race, they're like, not happening. No way. That is not an intelligent thing to do. And here's my 11-year-old. She's like, yeah. So I am proud of her, but I'm also proud of her because she made the mature decision that she needed to stop. And I couldn't feel more proud of her because she realized that she had to make that decision. No matter how tough it was and how disappointing it was, she made that decision. And it's okay if we stop sometimes. It's okay if we set the goals that are up here and we only get here. Because guess what? We're not here anymore. And I just loved it. So that service project actually became driving my daughter home. So we had gotten about 25 minutes away from my home. So we loaded up. We spent 25 minutes driving back home and then 25 minutes back to where we started. And that was about 50 minutes. With the 10 minutes running, we were right on schedule. But I can't tell you how much I enjoyed her being there with me. And I really missed her that rest of the night. Man, I missed her. I wanted her so bad because I noticed that as soon as she was gone, guess what? I focused on myself again. All I could do was hear my thoughts and hear my footsteps and feel my pain, right? Instead of when she was running with me, I didn't care about me. All I was doing was trying to support her and trying to help her accomplish her goals. And man, isn't that how that is in life, right? That is exactly how it is. And the whole message behind this race, the whole FAST Foundation, is our life is better. It is more full. It's more enjoyable. It's more blissful. It's less painful. It's less dark when our lives are focused on helping other people. And when I was helping my daughter accomplish her goal, none of that, I seriously don't remember a pain, an ounce of feeling tired. I didn't feel any of that because I didn't have time. I was trying to be more for my daughter. I was trying to help her. As soon as she was gone and I was left to my own devices, things got hard. They got really hard. They did. So that was mile 7 and then our service station. When we got back, you could tell my service truck and a trailer drivers were feeling it, right? So we're now rounding on 1 o'clock in the morning. It's dark. We're out in the middle of the country between corn rows. And I could tell that they were feeling it. So I made a decision. Now, again, this is just me doing this race so I could do this. So the pattern was run for a mile, serve for the remaining time, right? So that was about 10, 15 minutes running and then, 45 to 50 minutes serving. So that meant even if they slept at the next mile marker, they're getting woke up every 45 minutes. And so I decided that, you know what, I'm going to push it to 2 miles so that they can sleep for 2 to 3 hour increments. And I'll just run 3 miles and then I will just do service for the remaining, 2.5 hours. So that's actually what I ended up doing. So I don't have any film from that period. I wrote letters to veterans and thank you notes to people that serve, police, healthcare workers. I did another Periscope session where I just encouraged other people and kind of gave them an update on what was going on. I took some time for myself and I served myself. I ended up writing in my journal about how I was feeling because I believe that was a service to me, to my future and my family, and maybe anybody who else reads it to know my thoughts of what I was going through. Top of the hour, poof, gone. So woke up the boys after doing that and I had to gear up. I was feeling pretty decent at this point. One of the blessings and maybe the unplanned preparation for this race is I am an emergency room physician and I do 36-hour shifts. So being up for 24 hours is not uncommon. Sometimes I can hit some power naps, but so at this time I'd only been up, not even 15 hours. So still feeling pretty good. But now I knew the big one. This was the highest gain in elevation. This was the longest portion of the race. And it's right at that witching hour, man. It's at that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock time. That's when your body absolutely 100% needs to be asleep, right? So we geared up. We sent the GPS to my boys, and I had a 3.2 mile run. I had a 5K to do. Well, that was straight up. Awful. Oh. So I just passed midway. So I just did mile 12, 13, 14, and I just passed 12-hour mark. I'm rounding up on the 13-hour mark, and I am reminded about how much I hate running. But man, that was painful. At one point, I fell asleep while I was running. I said, I'm gonna just see how far I can run in the middle of the road with my eyes closed. But no matter how much my legs hurt and how much my eyes were heavy and how much I just did not want to be in that situation, I was somehow, I learned two things. One, it is hard to want to help other people when you're tired, when there's darkness surrounding you, and when your body's hurting and your mind's not fresh. It is hard to think of others. And two, for some reason, I knew that I was going to get through it, and I would look back with greater wisdom and appreciation for what I just went through. And that was motivating. Man, so that was my makeup distance. That was my 3 miles. So that when I finished, it was a full marathon, 26.2 in the 24-hour period. No doubt in my mind I'm finishing this. But that was a very hilly, very painful, dark 5K. But weirdly, and I can't say right now, I can't say I loved it. I can't, because it sucked. I just didn't appreciate it at all, except for those two things I've learned. And so I'm going to grab that, and that's what we're going to do. This truly is the HEART-est marathon. It's the hardest race, because look at this. Guys, I haven't even got to the hard surfaces. All day on Saturday, it's when people are home. So that's when I'm going to be tilling up people's gardens. That's when I'm going to be raking. That's when I'm going to be trimming bushes. That's when I'm going to be getting on people's roofs, refixing gutters. It's going to be exhausting. But I know that point two I've learned, I know that when it's all done, I'm going to feel amazing. And I know that I'm going to feel that that was time well spent. And that's why we're going to keep going. Not to mention that my next stop is a grocery store, and you better believe I'm getting some donuts. It's all about them maple bars, baby. Let's do this. Now, top of the hour, poof, mile 15, went to Hy-Vee. Wonderful people there. They donated over 50 boxes of cereal. And then we shopped and got a bunch of other breakfast items to then be delivered at our next location. So we spent the rest of the time shopping and then organizing those meals, putting them in bags so that we could effectively deliver it to people at our next location. Top of the hour, boom, shoo. We go to a local housing authority, which helps people that are in financial tough times. So this service station kind of had twofold. It was one, to deliver these groceries to some very high need families that had no source of income, and they needed help with food. And probably one of the tender moments that I had is as I was putting the groceries on the door, a man opens the door and starts to walk out backwards to shut it, and he says, "Oh my goodness, I literally am on my way to the grocery store to see what I could get." And he had bags of groceries on his feet. And it was a really cool moment to be able to say, no, stay home, be with your family, we got you. Now, to this man's credit, he was a good father. He had 2 sons. And what was so neat is I looked at the boys and said, "Hey, do you want to help us help other people?" And they said, "Yeah." And the dad said, "Go get your shoes on." So for the next 20 minutes, these young boys, they ran out with us and they helped deliver these groceries. But it was so tender to see these boys so excitingly deliver groceries to other people. They themselves were in need. They needed groceries, but they still were helping people out. I loved it. And the second point at this housing authority, it was fall. Halloween coming up. A lot of these families, they're scrapping for groceries, paying their bills. Things like fall decorations, pumpkins, those are so low on the priority list. And so we then took all those hundreds of pumpkins donated by Mill Creek Farm, and we then put them on the doorsteps of all these homes. And we were able to at least maybe brighten up these doorsteps. On the top of the hour, next smile. I was able to go to a friend's home who had a couple Saturday project items. He was trying to level out part of his yard that he was going to convert to a little parking space, and there was some damage to a gutter that we were going to try to fix. Not to mention, we found at that point his neighbor's gutter was filled with leaves and it started growing some small plants, and so we took care of that too. And it was just really neat because I was able to help out a friend. A lot of the times when we think about community service, we tend to think about maybe the less fortunate. We tend to think about those individuals that have less in life. But let's not forget our friends and our family. These people are real people. These are our friends and our family. And everybody can use a hand at sometimes. It doesn't matter how well put their life together is. It feels good when someone spends time thinking about you. It feels you feel loved and you feel like you have worth when other people care about you enough to sacrifice their time to give you a gift or to serve you. And so it was really neat to give a good friend some service and to do something that made his Saturday chore list a little shorter. On the top of the hour, next mile. So that was mile 17. Mile 18, we went to the Quincy Art Center, and I can't thank them enough for them opening their doors on non-normal business hours. And we did the pendulum painting.
Oh, that is awesome! That really is so sweet. Why do I like that so much?
And do that painting. I was able to participate with my kids, and we were able to make some really cool paintings. Now these paintings will be later donated to either a local school or nursing home that can find a wall space for it, because they are big. It's 4 panels of canvas, and hopefully just to brighten their hallways and brighten their days. So we were able to do that. So that was fantastic. That was really cool. On the top of the hour, next mile. We ended up at the Salem church. We helped prepare and icing on cake and prepare a meal for a soup kitchen that they provide every Saturday. It's a phenomenal service that they do, and they allowed us to come in for the limited time that we had, and we were able to put together bags and ice some caking and just be in this amazing atmosphere of people that give every Saturday their time to provide well-cooked meals and prepared dishes for these individuals that are suffering hard times. And it's just an amazing and consistent service that they provide for the community. So it was an amazing part to be part of. On the top of the hour, next mile. All right, so next was the Blessing Hospital Hospitality House and the delivery of the toys to the Blessing Hospital. We went to this home that is right across the street from the Blessing Hospital that provides, short to, long-term living space for individuals who have family and loved ones in the hospital. It gives these families that may not be from local areas a place to stay, and a place that is stress-free, that has kitchens, that has normal bathrooms, and that is right close to the hospital, so that they can be there at a split second to be next to their family if the need arises. It's a beautiful home. On the top of the hour, next mile. Next, we went to the Quincy Library. I don't have any footage of this. I don't know if our phone died. I can't remember what happened, but we went and we had set up to do children's book reading with a refugee family from Sudan who had traveled all the way to Cairo, Egypt for safety. We were really excited about it because of some internet connections and some calendaring issues with the family. It didn't happen. I ended up calling my niece, and who is 8 years old, and we ended up reading books to her, which was an amazing Saturday thing to do. Again, sometimes when you want to help someone out, it doesn't work out, and that's okay. You just shift gears, you roll from the hip, and you try something else. No act of kindness is too small, right? Yeah, we wanted to do this really cool journal entry level service project where we read to refugees in Egypt. Like, how cool would that be? But reading to my niece was just as special and just as neat, because it meant something to her and it meant something to us and allowed us to do it. So never discredit a service project or an act of kindness because you think it's too small. It matters. On the top of the hour, next mile. All right, off to mile 22, we went to Belle Ease, which is an amazing establishment here in Quincy. And it provides a teen center for kids to gather after school, to do projects, to work together, to play games and sports together, but it also provides a place where they can accumulate needed items, furniture, clothing, decorations for families that may not be able to afford those things. So we were able to sort through all these donated items, load it onto a truck, and that would later be delivered to these families in need. What an opportunity. The kindest individuals. We contacted them very late in the planning process, literally the day before I knocked on their door. And on a whim, they brought someone on Saturday, which is not their normal operating hours, to allow us to do service for their community. Very kind, and it was a great opportunity to do it. And I'll tell you, after running 22 miles, going up and down that loading truck, that was a doozy, but it was worth it. It was so good. On the top of the hour, next mile. All right, mile 23 was a cool one for me. This was a simple one, but it bookended an earlier service project. So this was when we took all the wood that we loaded the night before and we delivered it and donated it to a gentleman. This gentleman has been serving a small garage car care center for the local community for decades, okay? It's just him and another person. And he uses a wood stove to heat his garage in the winter because it's such a large space, it's too expensive to heat. So how I found this individual is I needed to find someone that needed the wood. And so I actually went and drove up and down alleyways and houses and looked for chimney stacks on houses. And I just knocked on doors trying to find someone who uses wood stove for their heating because I couldn't find anybody. It's not very common anymore, especially within a city. One kind gentleman said, that man over there has been using it for years. So we went over there and told him, I said, hey, I've got a cord of wood we want to give you. Can we come and drop it off at your place tomorrow? And he said, yeah, but how much do you want for it? I said, nothing. We'll just drop it. We'll stack it right there nice and neat for you. No. Are you sure you don't want anything for it? No, I can pay you. I said, no, it's not about that. And he said, are you? Like he didn't believe me that we were going to do that. And that made me smile. That made me happy inside that, yeah, we were doing something good, unexpected. I hope he walked out and saw that stack, and I hope he felt cared for. I hope he felt loved, and I hope that he is able to stay warm this winter so he can continue his business so that he can provide food and the needs for his family. That was just a neat one for me. On the top of the hour, next mile, and to the Illinois Veterans Home. It is a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous establishment that takes care and houses the men and women who have served our community and our country. And I could not have done this race without trying to do something for them. Got in contact with a wonderful lady that stated that there was a small strip of garden right outside their main entryway that had gotten out of hand because their normal cycle of volunteers had been disrupted because of COVID. And you better believe we were on it. So we brought our hedge trimmers, our action hose, our shovels, our axes, and we tilled and cleaned that bad boy up. So it was a wonderful opportunity. Again, I don't have any film of this, and that's all right, okay? I think we were just dog-tired. Our brains weren't thinking. I wasn't on it to ask people to film, and it's all right if you don't document goodness. Sometimes I think because we live in this age of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, if we do something good, it doesn't happen unless we document it. Man, that's so false. You know you did it. The people you helped with know you did it. And that's all that matters. And so I don't have footage from that. And, you know, I'm not going to go roll some beef footage. I'm not going to reenact it because it meant something to me. And hopefully it meant something to them. And I know every time I drive by that garden, I'm going to have a prick of, you know, goodness, because I know that I did something good. Okay, so after the veterans home, something interesting happened. Let me, disclosure. I don't like running. I've mentioned it a few times, so that's not the disclosure. The disclosure is I didn't train a lick for this event. I thought, unintelligently, it's 1 mile at a time. I mean, I can handle 1 mile at a time. Yeah, but it's 1 mile times 26.2 with gardening, rototilling, going upstairs, bending, lifting, twisting. I'm active, I'm pretty fit, and I exercise every day, but I don't run, okay? Something happened on that mile 25. So at this point, my oldest daughter, she was running strong. Something happened in my right knee, and I've never felt pain that I couldn't overcome so immediate. And I didn't do anything. I didn't step off a curb wrong. I didn't twist my knee. It just instantly, right lateral side, instant, just knives. Okay, all the muscles around it cramped up. So we're running, and my daughter, she's like, "Come on, Dad, come on, let's go." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming." And I was limping. I tried swinging my leg out. I just thought, you know what? This is pain. I can mentally overpower this. If there is some damage done, I'm not going to make it worse. And so I would start running. I could not run. I couldn't. So I did this left-right swing, leg lock, and hobble thing about 20 feet until it was so excruciating that I had to walk. And rightly so, my daughter razzed me the whole time. "Dad, I'm smoking you. You can't even keep up with me. Come on, Dad. Dad, your WIMP bone is flaring up again." A few years ago, my daughter was laying in bed and we were having our nighttime stories. And she's like, "Dad, my neck hurts." And I was like, "Well, let me check it out." Really serious, very doctor-like. And I felt the back of her neck and I said, "Oh, honey, it looks like your WIMP bone is flared up." And she's like, "What? What is a WIMP bone?" And I said, "Well, you know, some people have it and some people don't. It looks like you got a really large one." And she's like, "Oh my goodness." And then my other daughter chimes in, "Dad, do I have a WIMP bone?" And I said, "Oh, you may have. Let me see." I went and checked it. "Oh, you do, but yours isn't big. Yours is kind of just small. But Marley, yours is really big." She said, "Oh, Dad, do I have to go to the hospital? Do I need to get it checked out?" And then I said, "Your WIMP bone is flared up." "Dad, I know." "No, Marley, your WIMP bone." And then it dawned on her, "Oh, Dad." So anytime anybody is complaining because of our pain, we kind of razz each other. "Oh, your WIMP bone is flared up." "Oh, Dad, I'm sorry." So that whole mile, she was razzing me. "Your WIMP bone broken?" Oh. And I could do nothing. I was powerless. Because I thought, no, I can still outrun her. I can stay with her. I just got to grit my teeth, and I couldn't. My second kid who was running, she was smoking me too. I couldn't stay with her. So the last half of mile 25, I walked. I could not move it. And that was extremely frustrating. I pictured myself crossing the finish line in full stride, just, "Yeah, I did it." Instead, I was trying to overcome this knee pain. On the top of the hour, next mile. Last Service Project, these wonderful people who have been trying to develop an active lifestyle in the Quincy community. They're developing this trail system for hiking and running and mountain biking. And at one end of the park, there wasn't really a visible trail marker or trail entrance. We'll eventually get a nicer one, but in the meantime, we just found big stones and boulders I would say big. At that time, they felt big because I was tired and exhausted and weak, and I had a bum knee. And we painted them Quincy blue for the Quincy Blue Devils, and just so people could see it. And then came the final mile, mile 26. This was at the bottom road, paralleled the Mississippi, and it would end right at the location that my ancestors crossed a frozen river and were welcomed in by the people of Quincy when other people were actually killing them. That means a lot to me. And so we finished at this point. And you can see our finish right here. You can see my little hitch in my giddy up as I'm running. You can see that my oldest daughter, she's already finished and she's sitting there and she's clapping. And we finished. And we did it. 26.2 mile run. 24 service projects in 24 hours. It was phenomenal. There are a few things that I learned from this race. One, you better believe I'm doing this again. And we're going big. I am so excited for the potential good that can happen because of this race. Even if I only have 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, if we can get that many people on that day to do that many focused service projects, holy goodness, how much good can be done? I am super excited. So as of right now, October 9th, 2021 is going to be the event. I'm really excited about it. Lesson number 2. It was all worth it. It was so good. My knee still hurts 2 weeks after the race, and I'm still in pain. And I would do it again, and I will do it again, because, again, that was time well spent. Yeah, I was tired. When I got home, I nibbled on some food, and I slept on a couch for 15 hours straight. I guess my wife came and shook me 3 or 4 times trying to tell me, Darren, come sleep in bed. You'll sleep better. I don't recollect nothing. Nothing registered. I slept for 15 hours. And I'm going to do it again. I'm inviting anybody who wants to participate to come out and do it with us. Or if you just want to take this, and hopefully if this motivates you, even in the tiniest degree, to find a way that you can serve your community, to serve your family, your friends, to do something healthy and do something that has service in it and join them together, I'd encourage you to do it. This is this was a great thing. I was productive in one of the most valuable ways that I can imagine. I was able to experience and learn a great deal of life lessons. I was able to participate with my kids and be taught and inspired by them and made fun of by them. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you find ways to go 1 mile at a time in your life. I hope that you swing big and you swing for that fence and you think that anything is possible, because it really is. And I hope that you do it in a way that allows you to bless the lives of others. I promise you that if you find moments in your day and in your calendar to help other people, your life will be so much more enjoyable and rewarding for you. That is it. This is Dr. Darren. If you find this content or anything we're trying to do on this channel or through the FAST Foundation, please subscribe so you can join us on this journey and you can enjoy these great people and these good events. So click that subscribe button and have a great day. Knuckles, noggin, butterfly kisses, and squid.
Fearing what I'd become if I stop playing goalie on all of my thoughts. Yeah, speaking out straight from my heart, but now I see. Oh, I see this love is taking over, breaking